Hello, my name is Mobiius, and this is Oscillator One. In today's episode, I got to sit down with Swarm, who's one of the leading forces in the dark electronic music scene and a genuinely good human being. His distinct style of orchestral, metal-infused dance music has netted him a passionate following, festival slots, and headlining shows across the USA, as well as millions of streams, tens of millions of streams. It was a fascinating conversation, and we got to chat about both the toughest and most triumphant moments of his career so far, the intention behind his art in general, as well as his upcoming debut album, and he shared some arguably priceless advice about the most important things to focus on if you want to achieve success in music or any creative field, and so much more. It's an awesome episode, so let's get into it.
Oscillator One.
So you were just talking about your recent trip to Germany. Where did you go in Germany?
We went to Munich.
Nice.
It was beautiful. I love how everywhere we've been in Europe that everything is big and giant and old and looks very gothic. And Munich has a lot of modern stuff, but also then just randomly you'll walk into like a new place and bam, there's a giant cathedral. It's amazing. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, nice. Do you think like your style of music is quite similar to my style of music? And I noticed from the analytics that a lot of listeners are in Germany and Poland and this sort of neighborhood in Europe. Are you trying to get out there and play some shows at some point?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, about 2 weeks ago, I just signed on with the European agent.
Let's go.
With MB Artists. Sarah is my agent, and she's in France. I haven't been to France yet, but would love to go. But yes, it's been a goal for a while, and finally the pieces kind of fit.
Fuck yeah. Congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
Nice.
Congratulations to you for having awesome fucking music.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing my best.
Well, your best is definitely enough.
I appreciate that. So on the topic of shows that you've recently done, didn't you play a festival recently? I saw on the internet.
Last weekend, I played Dance Festopia in Kansas City, and it was awesome. It was one of those travel days that everything goes absolutely wrong. So you're down to the wire to get off the plane and go play.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. And I was very tired, but it was amazing. Honestly, it was kind of inspiring that it was just like, wow, it's 3:40 a.m. and there's still a shitload of people out here to see me. I was really grateful. I was really grateful for that. I don't know how they can last that long after a whole ass festival day.
Yeah, all day in the sun.
All day in the
drugs.
Probably.
Does
sheer willpower. We'll go with that.
So because you just made it for the set, so you weren't able to go and do like the fan meetup thing. And from seeing you online, it seems like that's something that you do often or every time you play a festival?
Every time I play a festival, I'll do some swim meetup. I wasn't able to do it that time, but I got there with about 30 minutes to spare before I had to go get dressed and all that kind of stuff. So I walked around pretty much the whole festival for 30 minutes. And if I just told people online, like, hey, if you see me, say hi. Sorry, I wasn't able to meet the meetup, but everything was delayed. I ended up getting rerouted across the country and then having to come back across the country. And then literally by the time I got back, I got taken straight from the airport to the hotel, which was like an hour away, dropped my stuff off, grabbed my backpack, and then just went immediately another hour into the festival. It was just, everything's really spread out there. But by the time I got there, I had about 30 minutes. So I walked around and met a couple people, and it was fun. Everybody was really, really cool there. It was a really cool place. I'm sad I didn't get to explore it more.
Was it the last day of the festival, or they don't let you come back the next day?
It was the first official day, but I've learned over the years of doing this that if I immersed myself too much in the electronic music culture, then I start getting really bitter, and my mental health starts spiraling really quick. So when I go to a festival, or I play a festival now, I will go a couple hours early, hang out, say hey to people, go walk around and watch some music. There's try to discover somebody new, and I play, and then I'm out. Because and also I should say, do a meetup with anybody that wants to say hello to me and me to say hello to them, because it still blows my mind that people want to talk to me. I think that's cool, but I don't know why. But if I do it too much, if I'm there too much, if I do like oh, I'll just stay and then come back and hang out tomorrow, it's just not good for me. You have to find what works for you, and what works for me is not hanging around a million people that not the people at the festival, but the industry side of things, because a lot of times it's really awful, and I just don't want a part of that.
Yeah, don't want that energy.
I just don't want that energy. I don't want to have to think about that. That's my goal for the past year, is just to do everything I can to not have to think about the industry side of things, because that's not my goal. That's not why I started. It's a necessary part of progressing as an artist, unfortunately, or fortunately, but also that's why I have my manager, and I've learned to rely on him a lot more for the technical stuff, so I don't get bogged down. My creativity doesn't suffer because I'm thinking about politics and all that kind of stuff. It's just no good for creativity.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. With the fan meetups, is that something that you started doing when you first started playing festivals, or how did that come about?
Well, it wasn't even my idea. It was like, if let's see, my first festival ever was 2021 Ubby Dubby, and like when I posted I was playing, people were like, "Are you gonna do a meetup?" I'm like, "Sure."
You want to
Like,
meet me?
yeah, absolutely. And then after that, I'm like, cool. And like I saw how happy some people were, and like people telling me these things about my music, and how the message in the music has helped them out in some way in life. And I'm just like, whew. See, that's the kind of encouragement I need, is to hear how something I know I've poured my heart and soul into has touched someone else, and for lack of better words, ministered to somebody's life or their situation. That is like, there's nothing more fulfilling than that, and nothing makes me feel happier than that. And
Yeah.
that's all I care about at the end of the day. And especially at this point, everything I do is a labor of love. Emphasis on labor and in love. But yeah, that's so after that I'm just like, oh, I'll do this every time for sure. Because
Nice.
that's something I can do forever. I have no problem. I love doing that. That's probably my favorite part about festivals, honestly.
Getting to meet the people.
Yep. It's amazing.
What's like the craziest thing or the most impactful thing that somebody has told you at one of these? Or I mean, I guess if you're at liberty to share, depending on what it
Yeah.
is.
I would have to be probably pretty general, because it's people have told me really personal stuff. So obviously I don't want to break that trust. So I will go basically anybody that says that they were thinking about suicide, and they listened to the lyrics of one of my songs and now they're still alive. That's the highest, not praise. That's the most important thing anybody could say to me. So I'll just have to go kind of general like that, but I can talk about the craziest thing. Well, there's been a couple of craziest things, but the one that sticks out was after a show, somebody wanted me to, sign their arm, and then they went the next morning and got my autograph tattooed. That was wild. Apparently, to some people, it happens all the time, but for me, that was just like, whoa, that's awesome.
Nice. I hope you did a good job on the signature.
I didn't. I'm just joking. No, it was great. It looked better than I had written it. So I think the tattoo artist took some artistic liberties.
Oh, thank God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to Sharpie something that looks good on somebody's arm, especially when they're sweaty.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. By the way, when did you get your hand tattoo?
2020, 2019. The motivation of this was it's kind of keeping myself accountable. I have been very open about how I've struggled a lot and do struggle a lot with mental health issues. And getting this, one, it looks cool. Like that's why I had this my mark designed, because I thought it was amazing. But also I wanted to, so one, it represents my commitment to this project. And two, going back to the mental health stuff, I've felt like in the past I've attacked some not music projects, but passion projects that I eventually kind of not burnt out from, just kind of lost interest in. And none have given me the fulfillment and the enjoyment and the happiness that making music has. And I haven't been making music for very long. I think I first bought Ableton Live Lite in 2017, I think. So basically it was to show myself. Once Swarm started, like I started like getting into the groove of things. I'm just like, you know, I can do this. Like I know, like I finally found the way that I can be creative without any limits. So I got this to show my dedication to it and also keep myself accountable, like I said, which is when I look at this, I can remember exactly why I love doing this, and it's going to be on here forever. And also, if I were ever to think about quitting, and I have, and I look at this and remember that, am I going to just sit here and be haunted by this for the rest of my life? No, I'm not, because I'm going to keep going. This is my reminder to keep my head in the game and to remember why I do this and why what I do matters to me and to other people.
Something to like, if you ever did quit, you would just have to stare it down and be like, oh.
Yeah, I would have to be haunted by it every day. So I don't want to do that. And I'm not going to do that.
Do you ever get like tired or burned out of making Swarm flavored music?
No, and here's why. It's because I have since day one done whatever I want to do and incorporated it into what I do. So I've released quite a bit of songs now. I'm about 75% done with my first album. That's what I've been working on all this year. There is no genre of music that is not represented in some way throughout my discography. And I mean that, I'm being dead serious. Like I don't listen to electronic music, like you know, I don't listen to dubstep or any of that kind of stuff outside of, you know, what I do, but I listen to metal, industrial, you know, honestly, anything that has that gives me that feeling of like, ooh, this is good. Do you know that feeling? The goosebumps on the back of your neck, on your forearms kind of thing.
The like stand up and pace around your room kind of feeling?
Yeah, when I'm just like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, let's go.
Yeah.
That, anything that gives me that is what I love the most. So I don't get bored because I have incorporated everything I love and will continue to incorporate everything I love into the music. It's not strictly one thing, but it always has that flavor that I give things, whether it's, you know, metal, whether it's, you know, industrial, whether it's, you know, dubstep or whatever, house, dark house. My music is everything I love. And so I don't get tired of doing it. I just have to keep finding new ways to modify the formula and keep it fresh. And that's why my music takes a decent amount of time to make, is because I refuse to release anything that seems stale to me. And I refuse to do anything that doesn't give me that feeling. And so, yeah, I don't get tired of it because I always find new ways to make it fun.
I mean, that's honestly commendable. Finding, I mean, like I do my best to always release music that I'm stoked about, but sometimes I'm just like, I have to put something out. Like this one's pretty good. But
yeah, I was in that. I felt the same way a couple times, and that was a big battle I had because, you know, up until through 2021. Oh, I hit my mic. Up until 2022, like I had a song a month pretty much since 2018.
I know.
And which is nuts. And I don't know how I did that. I have no idea. But it's because I had just tapped into that creativity. That like flow of holy shit, I'm good at this, and still learning, and it just really snowballed. And then you had to come. I had some personal things happen, and I had to basically reevaluate everything I'd been doing, and well, I felt like I had to, and I had to kind of figure out where to go next because not the excitement had gone away, but the fret, like realizing that discovery of like I can make all these cool things. And for a while, you kind of just, your skill is developing, and so you're just exponentially learning all these things, and then you get to a point where it's time to get to the next level. And like I could say that the only thing I dislike about those early releases is I wanna it's kind of a double-edged sword. One, I didn't know what I was doing technically, but two, that's also a good thing, and that's why I was able to release that much music, is because I went solely by ear. Just does this make and feel? Does this make me feel like how I wanted to?
Yeah.
Once there's comes a point, I feel like, in most artists, especially all the ones I love, career, that you cannot rely on. You have to start learning other things to be able to keep growing. You hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
Plus, through that ceiling, you have to find out where to go next. And that required a learning a lot of things, and starting to really kind of dissect why I loved the things I loved in the music I was making, and what gave me that feeling. What was it? Was it the melody? Was it the way it was, the arrangement? Was it, obviously it's not the mix and master. Mix and master is all the technical stuff. I hate it. Hate it. I still do it because I have to, but that is the stuff that'll take me out of the creative zone. That is the stuff that you have to learn, unless you get somebody else to mix and master your music, which I wish I could let myself do, but I can't because I'm just too fucking stubborn. But anyways, I went off on a huge tangent here, and I don't remember the initial question.
I don't remember the original. I don't know.
Oh, you said that you feel like you have to release it, so it's this is okay.
Oh yeah, I was just giving you props for having such I was like blisteringly consistent release schedule for so many years.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing is, that's how it was, and I am still very happy with all that stuff. Literally, like, I still to this day don't release something unless I love it. But now making music is because I started doing my own vocals, and I started doing the very, very complicated orchestration stuff, and that stuff. Now the music has evolved from being personal to ultra, ultra, ultra personal, and I just won't release anything unless I feel every bit of the soul I put into it, the lyrics and all this stuff. I just won't do it. And that, unfortunately, with all the personal stuff that happened in the past year and a half, that made me kind of second guess how I was doing things, and it kind of made me doubt myself a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot bit. And just kind of had to regain that confidence I had after I had a dramatic change in my personal life, and had to kind of start fresh, I think. And now I am on the same page with my team, my new team, and it feels good. I'm finally feeling back to where I feel like I was a couple years ago, where I was just not flow state, but really close, just enjoying doing everything, and everything is fun, and I don't feel a shitload of pressure on myself and all these things. So regaining your confidence is really hard if you take a ego blow, but ultimately I think it's really worked to my benefit in this time, but it took a while to get back there. So
Yeah. So you've been mostly quiet for the last year or so. So your album has been your primary focus?
yeah, in 2023 is when I started to feel like I had a grip on what was going on. I have I released the remix for Keizo this year, Consumed, which was the start of the album music, and I have another one next week. That is just a whole, just me being taken completely out of my comfort zone, and still sounds like Swarm, still very much exactly what you would think, but a very, very mature spin-off, I think, that just feels natural to me. And I finally found the way to keep the excitement the next direction, basically. And so I'm really excited about that. But I have 2022, 2023 was a period of learning lots of new things, doing what makes me happy to feel like I could get back on my feet. I had the rug ripped out from under my feet early last year, so I took me a while to kind of regain my footing, but I'm feeling really good now. And this album is gonna be the whole story, basically.
Awesome. Well, we're obviously, I'm glad to have you back. Glad to see you getting back at it. What is the next step? Like, what directions are you trying to pursue now as you like try to evolve the project into something new and fresh? If you don't want to give everything away, that's fine. But
It's not, well, that's the thing, is with the kind of stuff I do, it's not giving anything away. It's more
reggaeton album.
No, it's indie pop.
Damn it.
So yeah, indie pop. No, it's still very much mental health focused. It's everything I do will always be, but I think for the first time I've been able to write about things from an outside perspective and not just directly addressing mental health or my own mental health. This I have a song coming out next week called No Salvation, and it's about an abusive relationship between me and the way I feel, kind of a Stockholm syndrome scenario of me and my music, if that was a relationship between two real people. And that's the first time I've ever been able to write a song not from a fictional perspective necessarily, but like a fictitious. I was able to kind of step outside of my own box. And that is exactly how I would describe the album so far, is stepping outside of my own box and outside of my comfort zone. And I'm not afraid to do so because, one, I make music for me. And two, I've already explored, a world of musical landscapes with the music I've made. Now I finally found a way to traverse more, as it were. And it's made me really happy to find new ways to do things. And there's not going to be any sort of insane, like, I'm not making an indie shoegaze album, or I'm not going to be doing that, but it's still going to be Swarm, and you can expect the same emotionally incredibly heavy things and bass and lots of choirs. But basically I've embraced the songwriter aspect of what I do, and I feel like I have a new open field to build on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what I would say. It feels like the next logical step for me, and I'm just really excited about this next single from it because it's a doozy. It's a doozy. It took me a while, as my songs always do now, but it's very much worth it, and I'm very excited.
Are you gonna push into like more vocal styles? Is that something you're looking into?
That was another reason why I actually sing on it.
Oh, nice.
Never done that before, never thought I could do it, but it made sense for this. And the people I showed it to said it sounded fantastic. So I'm just like, okay, great, because I don't want to listen to it. But yes, that is the other thing is on this album, I've heavily expanded the things that I do. And that was another comfort zone thing. And I'm terrified because I genuinely hate the way my voice sounds sometimes. Not the gravelly thing. I could do this all day. I think this is great, but not the other stuff. I've just been doing that, and I find that keeps it fresh. That keeps me happy, and hey, and sometimes I think I find incredibly different ways to accomplish what I've been trying to accomplish for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a new mountain to climb, a new challenge.
That's basically how I operate. I always have to find a new mountain to climb, and if I don't, I get bored. And then when I get bored, I get creatively stagnant, and that means usually I have to go through a period of reevaluating how I do things.
I think I don't remember when, but I feel at some point I saw you post online about how you approach your composition to songs, or at least you did then, that you kind of approached it where like, I want to see like like from a live playability standpoint, where like these are the drums, this is like would be a bass player, this would be a lead or guitar player, whatever, this would be a vocalist. Do you still do that?
I do.
And if you do, then is like the Swarm live band a goal in any sense of like long or short term? Is that like something that you'd like to come to fruition, or?
Yes and no. If it feels right, I would love to do that. But what I do want on that same note, the orchestra, the live orchestra with Swarm is 100%. That has been an end goal for years, and it always will be until it happens. That is what I want to do first. And the live band thing, I absolutely do want to do that. But first, the orchestra will be the first step to get there. I think that when I do the live band, I don't want it to be an all the time thing. I definitely want it to be a special thing, but like special event kind of thing. But the songwriting aspect is definitely still that 100%. Like I play guitar all over the new song, and all over the album, period. And that's been a long term goal of mine too, is to be able to mix actual guitars that don't sound like shit and aren't just thrown in for no reason into my music, but mixing a real guitar into heavily processed heavy bass things is almost impossible to pull off.
Yeah.
And I've felt like it's totally impossible for it to sound like a fluid song and not just an edit or a random here's my metal part of this dubstep song. But I have found a way to make it part of the song rather than here's a metal riff at the beginning before the build up, before the dubstep drop. I found it to integrate it. It is the focus of the song and everything goes along with it.
Nice.
And that has been a goal for 4 years. And I just now figured out how to do that to where it's tasteful. Basically, that in the end, any of these things I do, I just want it to be tasteful and musical. And I'm sure even if people hate my fucking music, that's cool. But you can at least tell that I genuinely care about the art and the actual music. My songs are never written from a get the fuck up, fucking punch somebody in the face, 1, 2, 3, headbang shit. Because like I just don't give a fuck. But I like that, and it has its place.
Yeah.
But
that's not what you're trying to express.
That's not my focus. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to combine that with some real meaty substance, basically.
Yeah. It seems to me that a lot of times like dance music And I guess like shows and festivals and things like that, it's kind of like an escapism sort of thing for a lot of people. It's not like a place that you go and you like cry and work through your feelings. It's more of just like a let's get fucked up and party for a few days, and then you like go back and you're like, oh shit, like I'm still fucked up, things are still fucked up, like I still have all my problems, they're right where I left them, but now I'm kind of hungover and
Right.
like all my dopamine's gone.
Right.
So I find it refreshing that you put so much of yourself in your music and you're so vulnerable with it in a genre that I think lacks that largely.
Thank you.
And that's, I mean, I also try to do that as much as I can. It's difficult. It's tender. It kind of, you know, so props to you for making it work.
Thank you. It's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off. But actually it was funny because I've just always been that person. I've been super in your face about how I feel about things, and it's definitely never been from like, and it's usually just in real life. It's not an online thing. It's not like I've always just spewed my problems all over the internet or anything. I've always been a person who feels a lot, is very in touch with how they feel about things, and very in touch with how to avoid pitfalls, especially in the last few years. I'm always a person that feels a lot, and usually I hide it. Up until the last few years when I met my now wife, I hid it. And even though I still was that same very, very in touch with my own brain and my own emotions person, sometimes I didn't know how to work through them, and that's why.
For better or worse.
Yeah, and better or worse, that's a great way to put it. And so I realized the other day, actually, so before I get there, like I basically, the emotional aspect was just something that just developed over time, and it began as an outlet for my own feelings of music, and then eventually I started, when I reached the point where I was using vocals, not even my own, but just vocals in general. I was always encouraging the people I worked with, like, just let it out, just do it, don't worry about talking about absolutely nothing like most dance music does. Say what's on your mind and stuff. And then I started writing my own, and then I started doing my own, and then I just decided, fuck this, let's not go for the jugular, let's just slice the jugular always. And that is when I really started being more free personally, when I could just say the craziest shit because I felt that way. And I don't have to worry about being crazy because I just don't care anymore, because I've reached this point where now it is just a full expression of how I'm feeling. And I'm not interested necessarily. Not that I'm not interested completely, but I'm not, if there's not an ability to be fully open about my emotions in the song, it's not that I'm not interested. There's a time and a place for that, and it may not be now, or it may be. Sometimes I'm just like, I've said what I need to say, let's make something that doesn't have to do with that, which is fine. And nothing can be 100% heavy all the time. That's just stupid. And that's why live has always been a great kind of Jekyll and Hyde aspect of having everything sounds cohesive, like the epic, the dark, the Lord of the Rings music on steroids kind of shit. But then I am able to inject some of my other parts of my personality in there. Like this last festival, I played Britney Spears.
Hell yeah.
And it was fun. And because nothing has to be dark and heavy 100% of the time. But I always, at the end of the shows, tell people, I don't ever plan what I'm going to say. I just tell people before my last song, just tell them like they're loved and they're special and all that kind of good stuff, because they are. And nobody tells people that anymore. Everybody's always arguing online and shit. How are people going to be happy or okay mentally when the entire internet is just a gigantic fuck you to everyone else? It's just hard. It's just a really tough thing to be in tune with technology now. It's just, man, it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Everything's a popularity contest. Everything is a fight or an algorithm designed to get you to pay to get your shit seen. It's tough. people just need to be reminded that there's still humanity in the world. But I had another point that I blew past. Well, I don't know what it was, but anyways, this next single I'm really excited about because I was able to write from a different perspective about the same general topic, but now I was basically just like, fuck it. And I showed my wife the song after it was done. And she goes, dude, these lyrics are intense. And this is the first time that I'm not looking at these lyrics going, right, this is what it was about. Like, I had always still, I would never censor myself, but I was always trying to find a more tasteful, a little more neutral way to say things because, like, I'll be honest, I love provocative lyrics from bands if, it feels like it's still tasteful, but basically I just went all out on this one. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not going to try to say things another way. This feels right. I'm doing it. So Lauren looked at me. She's like, bro, uh, this is another level of, intense. And I'm just like, I know. And then I told her what it was about. She goes, yeah, you should do this. And I'm like, okay, great. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how that pans out because it's the first time I've just fully said fuck it and I'm doing it exactly how it comes out of my brain and not examining everything closely and making sure it's going to come across wrong. I just said it didn't matter this time, just say fuck it. And so yeah, I'm interested to see how it's going to happen.
Well, there you go. If it resonates with you and it's like genuine and from the heart, then by all metrics, then it should.
That's all that I've heard about the past, and that's just now what I'm fully going with. So I hope so.
Yeah. Do you think, like because I mean, even now, like you're taking it to a new level, but like you've consistently been doing this for a while and in talking to your fans and stuff. Do you think that, not that you really have any super hard data to measure this, but like, do you think people are more drawn to you? And do you think that you've gained the momentum that you have because of the lyrical and emotional content of your music over just like your bass is sick as fuck? Like the average Swarm fan, like
honestly, I don't know. And honestly, that's one of those things that I don't necessarily, it doesn't matter to me if they are. I mean, it matters to me if they're, it matters to me if they are. Then I could talk to them. Now, then they can really know where I'm coming from and how authentic I'm being in my music. But I don't care if somebody is turned off by it.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Actually, this is a great point, very short point here. I'm not going to go off on a 10-minute tangent. The other night, I was playing a game because a lot of my music, like a lot of the ideas come from games now because I'm never really big a huge gamer, but like there's so many amazing cinematic games out there now that like aren't afraid to just say fuck you, now your heart's broken kind of shit,
Yeah.
And that's, I just try to find all of those now. And it started off a little bit lighthearted on the surface. It was dark, but not super dark. But as the game went on, it just absolutely took the most heartbreaking nosedive. And at the end, I'm like, dude, this is what people feel like when they go to see me or they, live. It's like gaming is not, there's been emotional narratives and stuff, but like this was just a gut punch. And I'm like, dude, like I'm upset. This is awesome. And it's like, that must be what people feel like when they go to see me, when they listen to my music when their friends tell them to, like, this is great. And then they're like, listen to the music, cool. And then they hear the lyrics, they're like, oh my God, like, fuck, this is upsetting. And it's just like, yes, that's exactly what it is. But like, but it allows you, I feel like games like that and music like that has it just gets me and it gives me the goosebumps and it just resonates with me. And it's just like, dude, you took something that's not a typical form of emotional like discharge or emotional just connection and just made it so personal and so brutally honest. And I love that. And that is just, I kind of had the big realization, like, damn. So I guess maybe that's how people feel when they listen to music. So to answer your question, it's like, I'm gonna do me, and I hope that people are drawn to it because of that. But some people I know are just not gonna give a fuck and just want to get fucked up and listen to bass, which is fine, whatever. But like,
That's how it goes.
that doesn't bother me at all.
I mean, honestly, like what you've been doing has clearly been working. If I had to pick a collection of genres out of a hat, like symphonic, mid-tempo metal, something like that, I wouldn't be like, you know what the people will like? I bet they'll like this. Like it would that wouldn't be like my first pick. And yet here you are. You're making it happen. Do you feel like you're making it happen? Do you feel like you've accomplished what you hoped to, like career-wise, when you started out?
Well, I didn't expect anything when I started out. I didn't expect anything at all. It's pretty cool that I've been able to play some cool things and have people really like my music. But honestly, I'm just at the point where I had no expectations starting. I'm back to having absolutely no expectations whatsoever. And I'm appreciating the journey and appreciating the process of the catharsis, basically, of making the music and putting it out, and like painting the cover art and all that kind of stuff. So it's like I'm just in the point of I'm 100% in it for the ride right now. I'm still looking forward to things I can do in the future, but that's never been my focus, and it's not my focus anymore. So I'm happy with what I've been able to do. I'll never be totally happy, period, because that's just the kind of person I am. But it's been fun, and that's all I care about, is just being myself and enjoying it.
What do you think were like the hardest moments for you to push through to get through to now where you are? It could be like specific or just like maybe an area that you have to keep going through.
It's definitely a self-confidence thing. Is definitely my biggest factor, is just keeping myself happy, and basically the process of pushing out, I have to release something now, versus this is a slow process because there's 500 tracks in this song and a shitload of other things. Like, if people like me, and they're not going to just go away because I haven't released something in 2 or 3 months. And that has been a big thing to kind of keep myself focused on, yes, you're supposed to do this, but also, there's people who just release albums and no singles, or a one single before an album. And that's been a hard thing to push through. There are specifically, like I said, the personal issues that I went through last year. I can't necessarily talk about them because they involve specific people that are no longer with me in my team. And but that crushed me, and that has been the absolute 100% hardest thing so far, is to kind of pick myself up off the floor and start fresh. But I'm not a shit talker, and I'm not going to talk shit on them. So yeah, that's 100% the hardest thing that I've had to deal with so far.
Okay. What about the flip side of that? What are like the best moments, like the oh shit moments, where you kind of like catch yourself and you're like, oh my God, this is happening to me right now?
Yeah. Honestly, anytime I play a show that there's like people are into it, I'm just like, whoa, that's fucking nuts, man. The biggest oh shit moment, one of the biggest, there's been so many, honestly, and I try to write them down, remember them, like the people I've met through it. Like, I have this band logo tattooed on my elbow, and I have since I was like 18, Impending Doom. And then now me and the singer of Impending Doom are like good friends. That was a no shit moment whenever, I don't know how he discovered me, but anyways, but that I the biggest one I could think of right off the top of my head was when several years ago, before I decided to do all my shit independently, I had this song, and I was sending it around like on Submit Hub or something, and everybody declined it. It's my song Savior, and everybody was like, they gave you feedback back then. They're like, this is just weird. There's like, the mix isn't good, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of just, the typical thing, just no's all the way across the board. I was just like, fuck it. So I wasn't even trying to get it to labels. It was just Submit Hub, not come to think of it. And then a few weeks later, somebody sends me a video of Porter Robinson playing it at a festival. And I'm just like, yeah, fuck y'all. Like, I knew it was good. I knew it. And yeah, that was cool. And then he played it the following year when I was just happened to be at Freaky Deaky in Texas, and he was playing, and he played it while I was watching, which was awesome.
Fuck yeah.
So that was definitely one of the coolest moments that I can think of off the top of my head.
Nice, dude.
That was a big old fuck you. And that's honestly my favorite kind of moments.
Especially after the Submit Hub. God, I hate Submit Hub feedback.
I don't use it at all anymore, but like it can be good.
Yeah.
In some ways, you know, it's just too crowded.
Self-releasing is super hard. And it's something that, like, personally I'd like to do more of, but it feels very difficult to get your music out there without the help of a label's advertisements or playlists or, you know, connections like payola, basically, depending on what kind of label you're on. Do you have any advice or something like that for people who are trying to take their projects independent? And like, did you wait until you had so many followers? Do you like what? I don't know.
No, honestly, I'm not the best person to give advice on this, because I've always done it. Like, I've always said, if a label feels right and they come to me, sure. I've never actively sought out a label ever, and I never will, because now, especially at this point, like, I've just been doing it for so long. I mean, here's the deal: is the way I look at it as, one, you could go with a label that already had a big name, that, you know, and then those labels have their own fan bases. There's a lot of labels that don't have that, you know, like well, I don't want to say anything in particular, but like, you know, say there's X label. I could say Never Say Die now because they're not around anymore or something like that, right? Or, you know, Monster Cat. There's Monster Cat fans. Now, if you come out on Monster Cat, there's going to be a lot of people, just because it's on Monster Cat, they're going to listen. I personally feel like something like that, it's not, I think you're going to have less actual hardcore fans from that, because a lot of these people are very casual. They like Monster Cat. They know anything that's going to be out on Monster Cat is going to be, you know, solid. So they always check it out. Now, I may be totally off base on that, but that's how it appears to me. And so I think going independent, it's going to be a fucking long ass road. Don't get me wrong. Like, I could have probably been a lot further along if I had done labels, but also, who cares? Like, it's not about that. It's about putting in an unbelievable amount of hard work and passion for everything to be exactly how I want it to be, without having to get approval for this or that or that. Like, I don't have to get approval for jack shit anymore, like, at all, like, period, because I own everything. You know, it's awesome. That is my big thing. And also, I just don't feel like labels, there are some exceptions, and I will shout out Fixed Records.
That's the industrial label, right?
Cell Dwellers.
Yeah.
James, awesome dude. Fucking and they have some metal bands and stuff. They're just the coolest people. 100% love them. I've worked with them because they asked me to do a couple things with them, and I did it. And they're amazing. I love them. They are truly artist-focused people. And, you know, there's I just had to give that shout out there because they're awesome. But again, like, they understand, like, they've asked me for more stuff, and they understand when I'm like, honestly, I just want to keep it, you know, been independent for this. And then I've always said, if it comes around, if something feels right, I'll do it. But, you know, most of the time nothing feels right, so I don't. And yeah, I think the biggest advice, at least the biggest reason why, would be, when you're independent, you are showcasing your own stuff. You have a lot more work, but a lot more opportunity for people just to become fans of you, and not of the label you're on. Or I feel like the connection with the listener is a lot more ground level as it goes up in that way, versus, you know, label, you know, casual listeners hearing something on a label, then listening to it, even if they're like, hey, that's pretty cool, you know. I feel like, especially with big labels, like I need to stop naming
Monster.
label names, but like big labels, so many releases constantly coming out. I feel like it's a lot easier to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
You do get the attention of that, but also, there is a lot of downsides to it. Downsides like if you want to get playlisted, you're going to have a tough time because, you don't have somebody that's in, constant contact with Spotify to be able to, closely pitch things or, all that kind of stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like not a single one of my original songs has ever been on a playlist, and that's fine. I don't do it for that, it's fine. But the feeling of knowing that I've done so much stuff independently is really cool. And honestly, that's what means the most to me at the end of the day.
It's impressive, honestly.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do, honestly.
Spotify just keeps making it harder and harder too.
Yeah.
It's harder and harder to get people to actually listen to you on Spotify because of all the changes they've made. It is what it is. It's always going to keep changing. It's changed so much from when I started even.
Yeah, I mean, SoundCloud's dead for one.
SoundCloud apparently, died a year after I started. Like people still go on SoundCloud to find. I go on there to find underground shit when I need something. Like if I have a gap in one of my sets that I don't have, one of my songs doesn't feel right for, I'll go on SoundCloud and just stumble around. And I've always find good stuff on there. I like SoundCloud a lot more, but also Spotify is its own thing. Like I like Spotify. I use Spotify. I could talk shit on Spotify all day long, but like I use it. I love it. I use it for running.
Mm-hmm.
Use it all the time. But for finding stuff that's really off the beaten path, SoundCloud is just unbeatable.
Yeah. The remixes and bootlegs and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Shitload of remixes on there that I can't do anything with. So they go on there and that's where they live. And I love that about SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm. Unless somebody flags you and your account gets demonetized.
Well,
not that I would know anything about that.
On them, and also anytime I've ever done a remix, like a bootleg, it is unrecognizable from the original. So I've never gotten flagged.
Good
for a remix, but it's first time for everything, I guess.
Fair enough. So I wanted to ask you about your brand. So I went back through your whole discography and I was like, oh my God, this dude's had his like same logo, like same visual identity since day one, or at least, internet facing day one.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, did you go into that with like marketability minded? Were you like, I want to put together something like tight and keep it like this? Or is it just, I like this, I'm going to get this done. And then it's just stayed the same because like, that's what you fuck with.
A little bit of both. It's the logo stayed the same because that's what I wanted when I started. I wanted a good logo a good name, good logo that could just works, that is recognizable. It's fine. The mark did not. That was part of the original plan, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted yet. So I had to think about it. So like a year after I started, the same guy who did the logo, love you, Don. He did the mark, and I told him what I was looking for, and he just fucking destroyed it. And then that's when there is no. I'm not going to rebrand the logo, and unless something happens.
Indie pop record.
What?
The indie pop phase.
Yeah.
20 years into your career.
Well, that's the thing is, I've definitely kept, and the mark, it just works so well for so many things. And it's a great tattoo logo. It just looks cool, looks eerie, it looks kind of ominous, but also it's just cool. And I've always loved dead trees, and that, yeah. But the visual things has evolved, like the art has evolved a lot. And originally it was just me, like some old digital photography stuff I had done.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the first wave, and then finding an artist I worked with for like 2 years, 2.5, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved the style she did. And then I went to painting my own. I just randomly started painting like last year. Mm-hmm. And I realized I really liked it. And so the Consumed, this next one, they're all going to be part of a series and the album that I've all painted. And I would like to keep with that. And it'll probably evolve again because, you know, it's just freshening up, finding new ways to get across the point I want. And for it to be personal and authentic, I think that right now the best way for me to do that is to paint the cover art myself, but it just has kind of evolved over time. So to answer your question, some of it has been on the fly, but the visual identity of the brands and the themes, absolutely, since day one, has been the plan. I'm just finding new ways to accomplish that now.
Nice. So like you like obviously do music and visuals. I really like that you're painting. I'm a big fan of various painters, especially like surrealism and things like that. I have a bunch of like Basquiat and Dali and this Polish dude that I don't know how to say his name. And
This is lost.
yeah, like with the fucked.
The nightmare artist, dude.
Yeah.
He's my favorite, like absolute favorite, hands down.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I know exactly the Polish dude. Yep. Percent. That stuff is what inspired me. My shit looks nothing like that, but you know, he is my favorite artist, hands down.
Yeah, dude, it's just incredible.
Unbelievable.
So it's cool to see you doing that. I love when artists are like interdisciplinary and like getting their message across in different forms. Do you reckon you'd ever like move into video? This kind of is like a two-parter, actually. I was wondering if you'd ever like want to move your storytelling into like doing like full-length music videos. Maybe you have. I didn't check.
No, I have done a few. I do enjoy them. I enjoy them a lot. And so basically, for the moment, that once I have actual money, like if I have, you know, any money, I can go. I have endless video ideas. But for the moment, budgetarily speaking, because I would rather work with an artist that I know can get a really cool concept digitally, like the one for Consumed is really cool, but the one for No Salvation is going to be very story driven kind of thing. But I definitely, for now, it's going to be that. It's going to be the you know, built in Unreal kind of stuff. That is basically a music/lyric video, but has a very laid out story that goes along with the song. And I can do some video stuff myself. Like a lot of the stuff that I've put out on YouTube and a lot of that stuff I've made myself. I just don't love it. I just don't really like it. I don't like sitting there. I like tinkering with song stuff, but when it comes to video, you know, 3D models and shit, it just does not interest me. I can do it if I have to do it, but I have to look up everything. Like, how do I do this? I will figure it out. Believe me, I'll figure it out. But that's going to take a shitload of time away from me doing what I actually love, which is doing the music and coming up with the concepts of everything. So, yeah, I've done some music videos, and I want to hold off on that until I can make a proper full music video that can actually fully get the concepts I want across without worrying about money.
Yeah.
So all the ones we've done before have been on literally zero budget. Yeah. And with some of them turned out pretty fucking cool, but not cool enough.
Yeah, this is the struggle of perfectionism, I suppose. On the flip side of that, with like some of the other videos you've done, you know, with your green screen or like dyeing your bathtub black, and I just wanted to bring it up because you know, compared to your visual aspect, like your music, the sound of your music, the lyrical content of your music, it's kind of like a 180. It's like playing Britney Spears in the middle of a set. It's like really goofy and lighthearted. And I mean, it works because it's just like everything else. It's genuine and it feels genuine. But I wonder, like, was that much of a struggle when you were like, you know what, I have this idea for a video, but it's totally off brand? Or did that even cross your mind?
Oh, absolutely, it did. But honestly, that's another, going back to it, that's why I don't get bored necessarily with what I do is because nothing can be totally dark. Nothing is 100% dark 100% of the time. In their personal lives, maybe they have a drink and joke around and, they laugh sometimes. They don't, but I do, so like I want to show basically when you keep harping on the darkness, and there's some artists out there some very big artists that are just all about 100% everything is so evil. I'm so evil all the time. It's stupid. It's corny because it's not true. Like, no, dude, you're wearing you're wearing a costume, you're wearing a mask, you're wearing this, you're wearing that. It's like, dude, you're a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you don't want to show the humanity, that's fine, but I do, because I don't pretend to be something I'm not. Not saying that whoever I was talking about, whoever they may be, isn't like, that's not what they want to do. But for me, I want to be authentic. And so that shows all aspects of who I am as a person. Like, I don't put on any fronts at all for the internet because I don't like seeing that. I love it when I can see my favorite artist doing something goofy and somebody catches it on camera,
Mm-hmm.
And so why not just get ahead of the curve there and I liked being goofy. I'm a pretty goofy person a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stupid. I have a stupid sense of humor, and I fully embrace that. So like, why not? Like, I feel like sometimes I could be pretty funny, and if I have a good idea, I'm going to do it. Even if it doesn't make any sense, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I just did it. I just went for it, and still a thing because I just don't care. If I have to be able to express everything I want to express at all times. And if I can't do that, then I'm going to quit. So till then, I'm going to keep doing whatever the fuck I want.
We love to see it.
That's it. Yeah. Just authenticity. That's my number one thing until the end of time, or the end of Swarm's time. I will be 100% authentic.
Fucking awesome. So across all of these things, the branding and the authenticity and your consistency over like the first 3-ish years of the Swarm project, do you have any advice? I'm releasing this on the Aimed Ahead YouTube channel, and there's a lot of, up and coming artists and aspiring artists who watch it, or at least I think they do. So like, what advice would you give to them as far as like the specific things that are important to target when you're trying to cut through the noise?
Man, cutting through the noise is so hard. It's seems like an impossible task even now for me. And I know it's got to be eons harder for somebody just starting out. So know that the feeling of not being able to cut through the noise never really goes away, in my opinion. I think that everybody has a different way of tackling that issue, and some ways, it's whatever works for you at that point. But really, I think at the end of the day, persistence and just never back down approach of doing it is what I personally do. So I can only say I can only tell you what worked for me. But I will say that the only advice I could give for people that are wanting to do this a lot, like wanting to do it,
Yeah,
is do what makes you happy, and don't think about what other people will think of it. And you don't need a groundbreaking idea to start with. Sometimes if maybe you have a groundbreaking idea that is just so original, and that's cool, that's amazing, I wish I had that, but like I don't, so I can't speak for that. But if you are doing everything that feels true to you, if you are happy with what you're putting out, think about the visual part of it. Just have a cohesive look. Doesn't mean you need to dress up in a costume, doesn't mean you need to, whatever. Just do something that makes you happy, because at the end of the day, the only way to persistence and like that never back down mindset is by being consistently able to do that over a long period of time. And that sounds kind of obvious, but so many people, I've seen so many people that are they get burnt out because, you know, maybe it wasn't exactly what they want, or they did a brand that was in this very specific niche that is no longer popular.
Mhm.
And so they're just like, fuck, now I got to rebrand. And that's why we have so many fucking rebrands now, is because none of those, I don't think we would have very many rebrands if it wasn't people doing just what they wanted to do, just strictly for the sake of their enjoyment, giving it to other people. I really think that we'd have a lot less things that go away and then come back in a different form. But if you want to do that, that's great. Find a way to make it work for you. But honestly, all that to say, the key to being successful is to make your definition of success about your happiness. And how enjoyable is it for me to make and release this music, even if nobody hears it? Because for the first while, it's going to be almost nobody's going to hear it, you know, and that's the way it is. But if you keep hammering away at it, it's going to happen eventually. And that comes with being happy and being able to do it for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Super long-winded answer, but that's the only thing that I can say with confidence, because that's the only thing I do.
So basically, do what genuinely excites you and makes you happy, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to like stick with it consistently enough to like actually make it.
If you can do it long term, you can do it.
Nice. Nice. I love it. It's kind of universal truths, I reckon. I mean, there's obviously other ways to do it. Like you could go start a tech house project, but.
And right now you'll get somewhere pretty quick, probably. But just like Tech House went away for a while and came back real hard now, you know, got to be prepared for that. So
have the happy hardcore side project on deck.
Oh, I would do happy hardcore sky project. I would do happy hardcore all day, maybe.
Let's go.
I would do hard style side projects. I love hard dance. That's the only kind of music that I actually listen to, like electronic music besides industrial, that I listen to outside of, you know, listening to reference mixes or whatever. Because I love it. It's fucking, well, not all of it, but obviously, but a lot of it gets me fucking going.
Yeah. I have a few small questions that, flavor questions. One of them that I didn't get to ask you earlier is, what kind of stuff are you listening to these days? Just for enjoyment.
Rammstein, always been listening to it for 20 years. Let's see. Shadow of Intent. It's a symphonic metal band. It's amazing. Let me just pull up what's on my running playlist right now, because that means that's what I'm listening to.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it. Sometimes people are like, what do you listen to? You're like, I don't know.
Die Hard is Murder. All been a mainstay. Brand of Sacrifice has been a huge one. Love them. Found this new band last week at the gym called Conquer Divide. Very cool. Super dope. It's metalcore, but has some electronics in it, has a lot of screaming and singing. It's an all girls band. So talented. Lots of like technical offbeat sounding time signatures and shit. And I just love that. It's, you know, I make really complicated music, so, you know, I love that kind of stuff.
What's it called again?
Conquer Divide.
Conquer Divide.
It's really cool. There's a song, System Failure, is on my running playlist right now. I found out about them last week. It's really cool. Besides that, mainstays are power metal. Love symphonic power metal. Rhapsody of Fire. My favorite bands for the most part are shit that's real off the grid. Orbit Culture, another band that I just discovered recently. Really cool. Lots of stompy riffs and shit. But yeah, just I'm always on the hunt for new metal shit, because I love it, especially if it has symphonic stuff in it.
Nice. Yeah, that tracks.
The whole inspiration to my sound comes from anyway. It's just doing that, but not quite that.
Did you used to listen to more electronic music? Is that like why you make electronic music? Or was it just like, I can use a computer, but I don't want to put together a band?
I'll be honest, I have no idea. Oh yeah, it was I went to one of my friends made me go to a festival in like 2017, and it was pretty cool actually. I'm just like, whoa, like I don't listen to this at all. I had known about dubstep. Like when it first really emerged in 2014-ish, times when Skrillex dropped, Scary Monsters and Ice Sprites, I had grown up in metal, and everybody in metal either fucking hated it or they were like, "Oh, I love dubstep," because it's literally the fucking,
It's like breakdowns.
it's breakdowns, but in music form, and it was very fresh then. Then all the heavy hitters came along. Some of them went away, some of them stayed. Excision back in the day, I went to go see Excision, and that was pretty eye-opening for me because it literally was like a metal show. It was crazy. There's people headbanging, and I'm just like, what the fuck, man? And then that's what really, I listened to it at that point a little bit, but I still was not really into it. But in 2017, a couple years later, I went to a festival and I saw it live, and I'm just like just saw how the people react and stuff, and just like, you know what? I think I could probably do this, but just bring like a really darky metal flavor to it.
Mhm.
And then it took a while to get to be able to do that, but yeah, that's really what started. But so basically, before I really got knee deep into this, I did listen to some. It was not a focus for sure,
Mhm.
but I did listen to some, and now I listen to exactly none.
Maybe it's for the best, honestly. Like the less outside voices you have coming in and influencing you, like the more pure it can be.
Of now, there are a couple artists that I keep track of. Castor, ridiculous. Castor, Ironheart, Celestial Void. Those are like three of my favorite electronic artists at the moment. Emotiona, all my past and future collaborators like Kate, Sounder, all these people. I always listen to all their music, electronic or not, because it's awesome. They're fucking awesome, and everybody should go listen to them. But yeah, besides that, no, absolutely none whatsoever. I like dark hip hop a lot. I listen to a lot of dark hip hop.
Like trap metal or like horrorcore or like
Yeah, I mean,
Tech Nine.
I genuinely hate those. I don't know where those labels came from, but yes, that. Not all of it. Most of it's garbage. Let's be real. Most of it sucks. Ghostmane, I've liked Ghostmane forever. Love Ghostmane. I don't know what style he is, but whatever that is very cool.
Yeah,
He's definitely up in my top 10 artists.
nice.
Maybe top five, because he just really loved experimenting now, and I love that.
Yeah,
Not a huge fan of Suicide Boys. Some of their songs are awesome. Some of them are just not for me. But that still, I do listen to that sometimes. Istasha.
dude,
Istasha is unfucking believable.
you turned me on to him, and it's been like, yeah, no going back. So good.
Because he is so good, dude.
Swarm Tasha collab when?
Well, we had something, it didn't end up working out, and then we tried again and it didn't end up working out. So hopefully sometime.
Fingers crossed.
But he's my favorite of that entire group for sure. He's definitely a little bit different though. He does a lot of extra flavor shit.
He does. The texture.
Texture is the most unbelievable thing I've ever heard. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, if he's fucking swishing mouthwash over the mic or something and put him on his kicks and his snares, but I don't know what it is, but it's fucking awesome.
It's so sick.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I listen to. Yeah. And I play guitar, so I just fuck around and guitar a lot.
Nice. Let's see here. Last couple questions. If you weren't doing Swarm, or if you just nobody cared and you were just doing it for yourself for fun, like what do you think you'd be doing?
It probably the same thing, maybe a little more metally, like industrial metally. But I mean, I have that covered plenty of times throughout my discography and then even upcoming. So like, I'm honestly, this is just music I like making.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not the electronic music element is part of it, it's still very similar to how it would be otherwise.
So just like regardless of if music worked, you'd be doing music.
Yeah, I think I was destined for it, and that sounds stupid, but I say that kind of as a joke, but like it feels like it's what I'm supposed to be doing, because like I crashed landed into it so hard without meaning to, and I've always been obsessed with music. No matter what, if I was a child, my mom told me my favorite toy was the plastic microphones.
Mm-hmm.
Always have been obsessed with music. I just, even now, like I constantly have to have music playing because I just love it.
Mhm.
Run, I can zone out for a fucking hour while I go run. I run a lot and just listening to music, not even stuff I know, just absorbing it. And I just put it on shuffle on some random thing. And I think it was definitely supposed to be music from the start, but I just have to be creative.
Yeah.
I have an outlet to be creative. I'm happy.
Fuck yeah. As a Florida man,
Florida man.
what is the most Florida man thing you've ever done?
I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not a very Florida man. I do not leave the house unless absolutely necessary. I hate the beach. I hate the sun. I hate the summer.
Mm.
I loathe pretty much everything about Florida.
Why are you still there?
Well, up until recently, the housing market was the cost of living was unbelievably lower here than most of the rest of the country.
Okay, that's fair.
My wife moved here because she came from New York, which was just insane. And then we found a great house. Now we have the coolest house ever. And so like we've been able to make it our own. Yes, it's hot. I'm trying to think of the most Florida man thing I've ever done. Cause I mean I've lived here my whole life. So like I don't
Surely you did something in high school noteworthy.
I've never been mudding. Never been mudding. I don't know. Shit. I mean, honestly, I know this is a real big letdown, but I just don't do Florida man shit. So I don't know. I don't do it. I don't have any friends. I don't have any.
It's a little disappointing, but
Don't leave the house unless I'm going to run, go to the gym, or mowing the lawn.
all right, we'll let you slide on this one.
Thank you for letting me slide straight.
As a tropical goth, I'm gonna be leaving Japan soon and moving back to Southeast Asia for a little while.
Oh wow.
Do you have any like tips for how to survive the heat? Are there specific brands or fabrics that I can look out for that make it more bearable, or is it just sort of a matter of putting your body through the humidity meat grinder?
Yeah, bro, just don't leave the house.
Okay, all right, word.
That's the best way to survive it. There's Nike Dry Fit. They have great moisture wicking shit. Get some in the pants. Pants are wonderful because just get the little thin stretchy pants that look like you're going to work out and that look nice. They make slacks that do that, but they're very thin and very breathable. And then just a thin black shirt and you're good, bro.
Perfect. All right, see, this is what I needed to know.
And don't leave the house.
Yeah, and also stay in the air conditioning at all times.
Exactly.
All right, brilliant. Shit, I had one other. Oh, last thing I had to ask: have you ever been to the castle?
Which castle? Oh, the castle in Tampa.
Yeah,
I haven't, and you know why? Because I just heard about it like 3 months ago, and so we were gonna go. My wife and some of her friends and me, I played in Tampa like 2 months ago, and I only heard about it real early before that. But by the time I get done playing, it's 3 a.m. When I headline, it gets out at 3 and it's a nightmare. But it's the castle closes at 4. And so by the time I'm done playing, it's 3. Pack up. I'm disgusting and sweaty. There's no time to go.
yeah.
So I heard all about it. That's about 3 hours down south from me, Tampa. But I haven't been there yet. I've heard that there's some debaucherous shit going on, so I'm a little scared for sure. But I think that it'll be fun to be there for at least a couple minutes. But I've never been there.
Yeah. No, I've never been. I talked to Morris Black a while back, and he was like,
yeah, he sounds like he would be the goth community in Florida is thriving. It is true.
The tropical goths.
Tropical goths. And Jacksonville, I am blown away about how many more goth people live here now. Like we went to some thing the other day, like a little community market, and there's a shitload of goth people in there. I'm like, where the fuck y'all coming from? Hell yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if there's some some studies to be done about like what, because you would think it would be the opposite. You wouldn't want to go to like the sunny, hot places.
No, I think it's the people that are born here growing up. They become goth because they hate everything so much. That's my theory, at least. But I'm actually doing a song with Morris Black, dude, and it's dope. So I love him. He's such a cool dude. He's always been a cool dude.
He's so chill.
He is. He's so nice.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but I actually did get to hear that track, and it's fucking awesome. You guys killed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Got a little sneak peek. So I told him that I was going to interview you next.
Yeah, there's I think so. That was probably the version he did last, and then I'm on like the last little thing. I think it's definitely because like the parts in that one were like my initial like here's my idea parts, and now it's like the whole thing's real thick, very very large now, and I'm really excited.
Excellent, cool. All right, I think that's all I got for you. Thank you for sticking around for so long and through the technical difficulties.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. You're awesome and your music's awesome.
Much appreciated. Right back at you.